Hello, 20 here. I'll try to briefly share the new update within the software because it's somehow it's completely a new software here. So, in terms of the tabs, we have only three tabs now. We have settings, summary, and retail tabs. Um, why I call it retail tabs? Because this is going to be only retail sentiment data, and in the future, I will bring the CFDC or COD data, and then in the summary tab where we're going to compare both and try analyze the whole market sentiment in terms of the the big boys and retail traders. Well, if I better say institutionals and retail traders data. Okay, in the summary tab we have the all the available pairs of contracts within the database, where you can switch um, between the categories of based on the currency pairs. What we have here, this is a bit slow, um, which is just a bug fix. I'm gonna fix that one. And then when you select any categories, then that gives a table summary of the whole market for that for the selected category, where it gives you the long and short positions, um, percentage positions, the price and net volumes, and then that kind of signal. This is the retail trader signals, not uh, or let's say contradictory signals where you trade against the retail trader. And this strength is the sentiment strength, where you get if there is a high volume or low volume in the market. The retail tab is the interesting one because this is the completely new um, tab, where on the right hand side these are similar compared to the previous version. On the right hand side I brought um, the absolute long and short volumes and the cumulatives from the matrix tab to here, so it gives you a better understanding if you either want to trade or you want to enter long or short for that specific pair. So in this example, we have AUD CAD on a 5 minute interval. Let's select 15 minutes for better view here. Just quickly explain this. So when you see the volume changes here, this is very important. The reason I brought it here because well, some people might be really lazy to switch between the tabs to read these datas. This is the time where you don't want to trade, where you don't want to enter the market. This is the time where you can enter the market if your volume analysis match what you see on the absolute and cumulative volumes as well. One thing you have to pay attention, which I only highlighted or put four margins on instead of the long and short volumes. Let's say the volume changes is only on the long contracts. You don't have these um, conditional formattings. I'm running both softwares, the previous version and the new version at the same time, which is quite interesting because it uh, gets all these formattings from the old one into the new one. So this is because they're both connected actually. At the bottom, which is very important to look at every day, you get a baseline. So if the pair, um, so in this case, it's they are net short, right? At 85% short, then you get a baseline based on the short, or let's say the highest volume of the retail traders, and then you get the current day long and short movements compared to the baseline. Sometimes you get a crossover above the baseline, or they stay below that. Um, and then you can switch between. So now we're looking at the volume flow. You can switch between volume or the contracts, because remember, contracts are very important to look at to see how the contracts are increasing or decreasing. for the selected pair. In the next tab, we have the volume order book along itself in a separate tab, which gives you a better understanding uh, to look at. I think it's very clear. And the new one and the most interesting part, to be honest, in this update, this is a long time commitment. I really wanted to do this. Even in the Excel version, I had some problems with the dynamic one, where, okay, I'll explain this one. We have a dynamic band and we have static bands. So, well, the static band gets data from the previous day. Previous day is Friday, because today is Monday, so we don't have any data. In this case, I'm going to use last week's um, data as a baseline. Just print, okay. And then we have the cumulatives, which is for the current day. And then we have moving averages of the volumes based on point, where we have 3 moving average, and then we have a calendar moving average. If you want to see the daily moving average or the weekly or the monthly moving average for the retail traders long and short positions. Let's get back to the bands. The bands are calculated based on the retail traders long and short volumes. Well, what price tends to do? Price tends to move up and down between the bands. Uh, it doesn't mean all the time you can buy when price is at the lower band or sell when price is at the higher band. This one, the dynamic band, is it, well, it basically is dynamic. The bands are moving, the bands are calculating based on the volumes added into the market. But the static one, the bands are not moving. The bands are static, and once they've been calculated based on the standard deviations, so in this case it's 1.5. 1 to 1.5 is really good. Once they've been calculated, the bands will stay there until the day is finished. So it's very clear that when the so anytime you want to look for buy, you don't really want to look for buy when the price within the red bands or the the short volume bands. At this time, you have to look at the long and short volumes. So if I hide the band, it will be a lot clearer. So this is where you have two baselines. You have the short and long means based on the selected period for the calculating the baselines. So look how price moved from the long baseline to short baseline, and this is the current day long and short volume lines. If we switch to another pair, any pair actually, let's look at CHF-JPY. Okay, now we have some signals which I'm going to explain on this one. So in the previous version, we had the trade assistant, which I didn't explain in the previous one. Basically, in this version, I converted the trade assistant to do all the work in the background and then return the trade signals. Again, you are not going to follow the trade signals blindly, because the trade signals can be used on both ways. So in this case, what we have bull trap signals, which calls for buy, but as I said, we're not buying when the price is within the short on the short volume band. So at this time, I'll be looking at if retail traders are increasing long and reducing short, then that's where I will be interested to go short rather than going long and following these dotted signals. So let's look at the data for CHF JPY and see what the retail traders did. Okay, we're here. When I see this, it's not a good setup to trade, to be honest. I'll just basically ignore this pair. But for the sake of the example, let's see if we got any signal around that time. So it was around 1 o'clock, 1 or 2 o'clock. Yeah, that 1 to 2. We were here. Alright, what retail traders were doing, reducing long contracts and adding shorts, adding shorts, adding shorts, and adding longs, and then the majority were long here. So this was a good signal to enter to short until we get this here. So that's where you want to get out of the market, basically, because you get both long and short positions are closing out in the market. So that's where you don't really want to trade, and that's not really good to trade. And I believe the order block what gives us, yeah. So that's when both sides are closing out their contracts or volumes. This is where you don't really want to enter the market or open your position. This is what you want to see when retail traders are going short and then reducing long or contract volumes and their orders. That's where you want to enter the market, because you want to have traders betting on one side of the market where you can enter as well, not on both sides. Because when it's moving both sides, that's basically when the market's just fluctuating, moving in a range. And then when the price is below the zero line on the cumulatives, that's where you will be interested to looking for buy if all your position or all your other points are met. And then in this case, price is moving with the retail traders until they decide to close out and go long. If you see within Asia session, they decided to open shorts, but then price rallied up a little bit or increased just a little bit until price touched the short volume band, and then when price is above the zero line, that's where the premium is. This is the premium, basically the premium zone, and this is the discount zone. It comes from ICT, if you are familiar with ICT or not. The premium price and discounted price. So you always want to sell the premium price and buy the discounted price. Then you get the data point, moving average charts. If you want to look at how the volume is changing on a 5 periods, 10 periods, 13 moving average periods, your preferred period, to be honest. And then the calendar one. The calendar is actually is what I'm looking at to see how they are changing over weekly and monthly, rather than only looking at just the daily one. Um, Basically, this is it. This is a lot simpler, but better for helping you to identify your best trades, to be honest. I will be sharing more examples how to exactly use this and how this helps us to enter the market alongside the retail traders or against the retail traders. Um, So the previous version we had the trade assistant, which has been converted to those dots on the chart. Now we have the metrics tab. We have all of this in a better position. So we have the volume order book itself alone here, and then we have the uh, absolute long volume change and the cumulatives. The market bias is not here. The market bias is on the summary tab now, which I made it a lot simpler because I think we don't need a market bias. It's just I think it will be uh, a bit confusing when you look at these buys and you're trying to analyze yourself. So I think the best way is to do it yourself. And then we have the pair analyzer tab, which we don't have in the new version, is the the volume changes chart or the volume delta charts. Um, on this is a good one actually. I can bring it here, and then uh, we can have the volume change chart at the bottom as well. So yeah, that's it generally, and let me know what you think. And do you think this is a better version, or if you want to keep anything from the previous version, bring it to this one? Please let me know, or if you have any ideas to make this any better, and something that you're really looking for to have within the software, please let me know. Reach out, or drop me a message on Telegram. I'll get in touch and I'll see what I can do. That's it for now. See you later.